Happy Tuesday, all. Christina's favorite day of the week. Hope everyone is having a great day. It is 7:01, people. You know what that means? That means for 59 minutes, you still have time to go vote. So if you are on here and you are watching and you did not vote yet, you can watch the replay. Go to the polls and make sure you make your vote count. That's my spiel for today. We need to make sure that our voice is heard and that we vote and we get out there and we let people know what it is that we feel, whichever way we go. It doesn't matter if you're Republican, Democrat, just go vote. It's super, super important. So if you're here and you're watching and you didn't vote, vete, go and vote. Venga para atrás después. Hi, Marilyn. How are you? Happy Tuesday, everyone. Super, super excited tonight. I'm excited every week, right? That's what you're probably saying. This girl's always excited. That's because I love sharing the screen with people that I love. And I think that this is the amazing part about this because I'm able to get on here and to just share my moments with people that I love because I'm able to bring on who I want, which is awesome for me. So today's Tuesday night, and we always get into some super, super exciting things. Last Tuesday was amazing. I'm sure that anybody who watched can attest. We spoke to a woman who actually lived through domestic violence and now has a friendship and has seen a change in her abuser, which was a phenomenal, phenomenal evening. Hello, Tony Clark. I see you. It was a great time. We enjoyed ourselves. Everyone that watched just was good. You were interactive. You got your opinions out, and we were all respectful of Brenda. So thank you again, Brenda, for giving us such a great show. As per always, I want to remind everyone who's watching to make sure that if you are watching and you are in some sort of domestic violence situation, in an unhealthy relationship, surrounded by someone that you're worried could hurt you, make sure you contact the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800 1-800-799-7233. It's been a long day, folks. Make sure that if you want to contact us as well, you can do so by going to loveshouldnothurt.com, any of our social media platforms, reaching out to us and just letting us know that you need the help. We'll be here for whatever it is that you need. Tonight, we have financial stability after abuse with Jay. So what is that about? So we always talk about different forms of abuse. We've talked about mental, we've talked about emotional, we've talked about physical. Tonight, we're going to talk about the effects of financial abuse because people don't realize the impacts that it has on folks who are in a domestic violence relationship. Unfortunately, a lot of the people who stay in their relationships, their reasoning for staying sometimes is financial. They're worried that when they leave, they won't be able to build on their own. They won't be able to pay their bills on their own. They won't be able to take care of their kids on their own because financially, that person either is the person who only brings in the income or is controlling their income, not allowing them to spend the money, or just not letting them do anything with their finances and kind of saying, this is what I'm giving you and that's all you can do. So financial abuse is another form of domestic violence, and it's something that is super important to let people know and educate them about tonight. So that's what we're talking about. We're here today with Jay. She's Jessica. I call her my baby mama. Long story behind that. But everybody else that knows her as Dre. You can find her on YouTube at Jay Narvaez. We're going to put that up in a little bit so you guys can follow her. She's amazing. She went from one part to another part. She's up here now, folks. My girl was knocking down her debt. She was like right here in the bottom where I feel like I'm at sometimes. She was in a hole, and my girl and her family were like, we got goals. We're going to get ourselves out of that hole. And now she is a financial coach. She helps people get through their financial woes. And she's just an awesome person. Before we get into all of the financial part, what we do is always talk about domestic violence and just people's experiences. And since Jessica has been a part of my life for the past few years, we're going to talk a little bit about how she knows me, her experiences with me, what she's seen throughout the years in me, and then we're going to get into this financial stability. So hold on to your seats because it's going to be a great night. Jessica's bubbly, has a lot of energy, and she is backstage with a big smile on her face. She's a little nervous, people, so welcome her with some love. Jessica, we're going to bring you on screen. Hi, mi amor.
Hi, I'm
How
so
are you?
excited.
How are you tonight, boo?
I'm good. I'm doing very well. I'm so excited that you invited me here, especially it's for you. So, I'm always here.
Oh, I'm so touched. You love me.
I love you very much.
So, as I stated before, Jessica and we really have not known each other for years and years. We actually just met each other 6 years ago,
Mhm.
um, in the weirdest way. We won't,
Listen,
yeah,
we met at a party, right? And then 2 weeks later, we end up working together. That's no
literally.
coincidence. No
And
coincidence.
no coincidence. And when we say working together, not in the same building, but literally our tables touched. We were side by
Next to each
side.
other.
If I moved my chair, it smacked her chair.
Uh-huh. It
So
was
that's how
destiny.
it was fate.
Yes,
Right? They
it
say people come
was.
into our lives for a reason, a season. And I believe that God placed her in my life for a reason. Definitely. She has been an amazing outlet for me in the past 6 years. So Jessica, before we get into your financial spiel, because that's super important for tonight, I want to give people a little background of our history together because of course,
Mm.
focus on domestic violence. And you have seen me kind of go through a lot in the past 6 years. You've seen me grow
Yeah.
a lot.
Hmm.
Um, I've had some truly difficult years, and this year has been, as we're calling it, my year of enlightenment.
Yes.
And you've watched that growth. So tell me a
Yeah.
little background about how you feel and what you've watched throughout the few years from me.
Sure, sure. Oh my God, where to start right now? If it's only been 6 years, but it feels so much longer.
It
But I
does.
think it's because we've been through so much together.
Mhm.
Um, so when I first met you, right, you were just like this public, outgoing, fun, crazy person, and I was the private, outgoing, fun, crazy person. So we kind of like clicked, right? But and that was, I guess, the first thing that I loved about you was just that you were me. You were like me, but publicly, right? And so I think when we first met, you were coming out of a relationship. So I didn't know
Correct.
too much about it. I just knew you were coming into it. So um I didn't see like so much of any bad part of anything. And as you know, our relationship progressed, that's when you started searching, right, searching for love. And um and I started seeing the relationships, right.
Mhm.
I think what I've seen then was trying to find something that wasn't for you, I
Mhm.
guess, right. And I think since I had just met you, I wanted to do anything possible to help you. And sometimes it wasn't the best thing. Like I remember one time like getting in the way of it because I'm trying to tell you, like, girl, you deserve more, right? You need more. This ain't for you. And I think I
Mhm.
had like got in the way and said things to someone and you flipped out on me. And I was like, okay, you know what, girl? I was like, I'm just trying to help you. But I think at that time, I didn't know your backstory, right? So I didn't know what you've been through. And I was learning about you
Mhm.
at that time. So at that time, I was like, no, you don't accept this stuff. We don't do this.
Mhm.
And you're like, leave me alone, girl. Right? um, so I think at one point I was just like, what you're going through, just don't tell me because, and it wasn't like in a judgmental way.
Right.
Is that like, I loved you so much. I didn't want to see you go through anything. Right.
Mhm.
I loved you. And then eventually, when that relationship ended and, after a while, a new one began. And I felt like it wasn't like as bad, but it was still kind of like, I don't know if you would call it like emotional or mental or verbal abuse. I'm not sure, but like I guess you were receiving things that I felt that you didn't deserve, right? And I guess it'll be verbal, right? Is that what you could consider it?
I think
And
verbal and emotional.
verbal and emotional. And I remember telling you, well, what I tell you all the time, right? In order for you to find love, right? In order for you to um find what you need or find someone that's going to love you
Mhm.
is for you to love yourself first. And that was
Mhm.
something that I always told you. And do you remember what was your response to me?
I don't remember. I
Your,
won't lie. I don't remember.
your response to me was, well, I don't love myself.
Oh, well, that's
Remember
true.
that? Yeah. And I was like, well, then you got to end these relationships because until you find you and find your love, then that's when you know what you're worth.
Mhm.
And Yeah. Yeah. But you know
So
what? From then though, we had a moment. So obviously we haven't worked together in a couple years now. So I've
three,
seen so much during that time. 3 years. Look at that.
in 3 years.
And the past three, it hasn't been as much because we don't talk every day anymore, right? It's like once
Mhm.
a week or whatever. But we met up last month, 2 months ago, and one of the things that you told me at that time was
Charlotte giving you some
Charlotte.
love. Lil J.
Charlotte, she told me I was so cute. You're so cute too. So when we met up, and I'm gonna get like a little it's gonna get a little emotional right now,
It's
but
okay. You know, every week I'm emotional. So anybody watching knows I'm emotional.
I and I'm not an emotional person, but I think it's just like our history and our relationship that when we met up last month, you said, I finally love myself. And I was like,
You were like, it took forever.
what? No.
Finally.
But it was just like a huge stepping stone because I've been praying for it. I've prayed for it and I prayed for it. And I was like, you are going to get there. Even if you don't feel like you're going to get there, I know you're going to get there because prayer is powerful. And
Mhm.
I just, I love you.
Hmm.
And that's the most important part. And so besides like relationships, right? I think the next step for you is friendships,
Mhm.
right? Real value friendships. And I witnessed that the last 6 years as well. Um, our expectations with certain people are always high, and
Mhm.
sometimes it can't be be there, right? So it's kind of like what you said, not everyone's there for our lifetime.
Mhm.
They're meant there for a season for a reason,
Mhm.
and that's it. And sometimes we just got to learn to let go a little bit,
Mhm.
just a tad. But look, you see all the people watching you right now? That's love. That's real love.
Marilyn Del Valle says, I don't know Jay personally, but came across her YouTube page and I love her. I enjoy watching her videos and I'm learning so much about how to budget my finances, which is a good segue. So we're
Thank
13 minutes in. I gave Jessica just that moment to share a little bit about our history before she gets into financial stability, because I think that it's important that people know what, each person is in my life and why they're here and why I choose to have them on. Um, if you haven't noticed, there's a trend. Everyone that continues to come on has played some sort of role in my life. And Jessica significantly has been someone who's played that role, who has seen me in that past. And we've even butt heads with her trying to see my worth and figuring out what's best for me and what's healthy for me. And I think when we met last month, that was like an aha moment for both of us, for us to sit there and be like, did she just say that? And the funny thing is, and I'll say this, the funny thing about that is I think that in the past 3 years since we've been apart, I think at some point I have said to you that I loved myself, but I think you and I both know that that wasn't true during that time.
you.
I
Yes,
think
yes.
I said it to try to convince you, so we wouldn't have to keep having the same conversation. Um, but I've grown to a point where now I can say it and I believe it and I know it to be true. I've seen the growth that I've taken myself. I've taken a step back and I've been able to look at myself and say, wow, I did come a really, really long way to where I was and to where I am now and what I accept and tolerate, whether it's friendships, relationships, uh, partners, whatever it is. I've come to a point where there were things that I tolerated then, and now I'm like, you were here for the season and now you're gone, and that's okay. I learned a part of myself with you, and now it's time to move on. You weren't healthy. And I think
Mhm.
that's where I'm at. I'll be 40 this Sunday. Woohoo! And I think this second part of my life, I need to move forward with only genuine love, people who
Mhm.
genuinely care and love me. Because the first part of my life, I think I allowed so many people to walk on me that it's now time to move forward healthy. So,
Yeah.
in the spirit of speaking of healthy and moving on healthy, a lot of emotional abuse and financial abuse are the same. People allow those forms of abuse to control them a little bit more sometimes than even physical abuse, because looking for, thank you, Carmen. She said, I look great for 40. Thank you so much. I love you, Carmen. um, looking at people's finances, a lot of times when I speak to women and I say, well, why are you staying in this relationship? It's super unhealthy. They'll say, well, I don't think I can afford it by myself. I have a baby, and how am I going to live with just this baby? So I think it's a good segue in how, even at that time, I had a lot of worries about being able to take care of my daughter on my own. So I'm glad that you're here today. I put up your YouTube page because I think that
Thank
that's
you.
super important. Follow her on YouTube. Jessica has an amazing channel with a lot of financial advice. She will help you get your life back in order. My girl sat with me for almost 3 hours. We sat there and we went through every part of my finances and everything that comes in and out. And this is like the second time she's done that with me. So she will sit with you. She will go over your finances and she will help you. So this is why I chose you for that topic. So I want you to tell us your story. Now, you did not experience domestic violence in any
No.
form. You and your husband have been together forever, childhood sweethearts. You guys have been married for a long time. But it's important for people to see how someone who is, I don't want to say drowning in debt, but has debt can still make it and come out of it. And they can go to your YouTube page and watch. But tonight, I want you to be able to express to the people who are watching who may be struggling through difficulty and feel like,
Mhm.
how am I going to do it on my own? So tell me a little bit about like your financial journey and how you were able to, just give us tips and different things that helped you get out of that rut and be where you are now.
Okay. Um, so I struggled a little bit of thinking of the short-term version and the long-term version. And I also struggled with like, wait, I haven't even shared my journey on my YouTube channel yet. But
This can be your outing.
yeah, so I'm gonna give the long version if you guys don't mind.
Mhm.
Um, oh, I should have brought a box of tissues just in case. Um, so back before marriage, we were planning our wedding, and we were saving. So I was working at the time, saving, putting it away, and that was back in 2007. And I found that I was pregnant, and unfortunately, I had to stop working as well as stop school. And because I had hyperemesis gravidarum disease, which I get during pregnancy. And for those of you who don't know what that is, it's they call it a severe morning sickness. But if you know what the stomach virus feels like, that 24-hour one, is that through the whole pregnancy. So I was bedridden the whole time. I gave birth at 25 weeks to two 1-pound babies, boys at that. And the boys are not as strong. So 23 days later, bear with me, please. Woo. 23 days later, I lost one. And I have to get this out, right? To share my journey.
That's okay.
So I lost one of my children. And instead of my wedding fund going to my wedding, it went to funeral costs. So it's kind of like that unexpected expense that we have to, save or have an emergency fund. And I didn't have that. I just had my wedding fund. So I'm gonna fast forward a little bit, and um, we were also in the process of purchasing a home for some home buyers, and then we had to prepare for a special needs child to come home.
Mhm. It's okay, babe.
I'm not a crybaby.
But I am, and they're all used to it. So it's
Oh,
okay. Everybody has a journey, and your journey started this way, especially with your finances. So it's important, I guess, to
oh
start with
man.
that. But it's okay.
Okay, so with our wedding fund heading, for funeral expenses, only half of our wedding was paid for. So we still needed the second half to be paid. And a lot of people told us to postpone it. You have all this going on. And, we didn't want to do that. It was 7 months away. So we had to take out a loan. And this was like the first time that, like, besides student loans, that we had to take out a loan for something we really didn't want to. So we took out a loan to pay the rest of our wedding. And we moved into our home. I found out I was pregnant again. So now I became a stay-at-home mom in debt on one income. And so we were a family of 4 at that time, maybe 38,000 a year. And that's being transparent. Family of 4 with a new home. I don't know how we did it, okay? But because I was a stay-at-home mom, I still wanted to provide in some way. And I still wanted to make sure that I'm celebrating birthdays with my kids and still taking vacations. And that's when the credit card debt started. I started applying for credit cards, started doing this, and just paid the minimum payment. And that's all I was doing. So it racked up until I officially got a part-time job. And I could only get a part-time job because I didn't have family to watch my children, especially if they were special need. And even if I did put them in a daycare, like, for me to afford daycare is probably $1,000 each child a month.
Yeah.
Very unaffordable. So at home mom. So fast forward, I'm trying to make it as quick as possible. After we had my last preemie, and I just want to give a shout out to Premature Awareness Month this month. All my 4 kids were premature. I read a book, a financial book, and when I read it, it was like an eye opener. It was just like, why didn't I learn this stuff? Why didn't why didn't learn this in high school? Why? I have a master's degree and I have never had a financial literacy course. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, not personal finance, nothing. So I read this book and it was like mind blown. And that, after reading that book, was the last time that I used a credit card. It was the last time that, besides a house loan, that I wanted any type of debt. In 2017, we started our financial journey, still on a part-time income and my husband's income. And in 3 years, I'm going to say 38 months, we paid off $40,000 in debt and I saved $40,000. So a total of $80,000 within 3 years. It was not easy, but it's not impossible. And it just required a lot of discipline and a lot of hustling. Like, I sold a lot of stuff in the house that I was like, I don't use you, go, bye. I don't use you, go. So it's, yes. Because of the journey and knowing what I didn't learn growing up, that's when I decided that I wanted to share everything I was learning with everyone. I want to share what I'm still learning with everyone and what I'm going to learn. And I wanted to start my YouTube channel years ago, but I guess I had that fear. Like, I'm really shy deep down inside, even though for those of you who know me think I'm not, I am. So, eventually is to target the youth, because I think we need to get them before they acquire debt instead of waiting till afterwards. Yeah, I'm still like,
That's okay. So, so that's awesome. First of all, kudos to you, because I think there's so many people today who, even their 30s, 40s, 50s, are still struggling with debt. And how do they get themselves out of debt? How do they come out of it? And I think it's even major, like tonight's topic, that those who are dealing with domestic violence know that in any circumstance, if you're on a one-person income, it is possible. I think that some of us are hindered by that fear. It's not just fear within domestic violence, but in life in general, we have this fear of just, if I take that step forward, something might happen. And I think that that's what keeps us in these relationships. You're in a domestic violence relationship. He's the only one making the money. You're fearful. Oh my God, if I leave, what am I going to do if I have no income? So before we move on to that, I know you said you looked up some statistics. What are the statistics that you saw on those who are going through, I guess, financial difficulties before and after domestic violence?
Yes. So I found that 99% of domestic violence victims deal with financial abuse. And that's the number one reason why victims stay or they return.
Yeah.
On top of that, 78% of Americans don't recognize financial abuse as domestic violence.
Correct.
59% of them, their credit was harmed by their abuser.
Mhm.
70% were not able to have a job while being with the abuser. And
Mhm.
53% lost their job because of the abuser.
Yes. I can attest to that on a personal level.
Mm,
Um, During my time in two of the two of my relationships, one being the one that was most physically abusive and the other one being more emotional abuse, um, I had my identity stolen by the second person. I was engaged to this person. They used my social security number to buy a truck, which once they disappeared after I finally left that relationship, they had repossessed. So it put a very big hurt on my credit score because
mhm.
he used my information without me knowing. So it like ruined me. The relationship that I was in with my daughter's father, um, credit cards were taken out in my name and bills were racking up. And when he was gone, that was it. I couldn't pay them. I couldn't afford it. So my credit score had a horrible hit to it. And those are two relationships where financially I was definitely struggling because I was in these relationships and not only was I terrified to even speak up and say, listen, you did this, you damaged this credit, you damaged this or that. Um, but I felt stuck because I felt like, well, I can't pay this bill without him. What am I going to do? And then in the second relationship, he was abusive and I just wanted him gone. So after the car was repossessed, there was really nothing I could do but sit and fight because my identity was used, and then fight to get it off of my credit because it was going to ruin me. So I can definitely attest to that. It's the statistics are not shocking. They're not surprising because
Mhm.
I think that when you're in those types of relationships, that's exactly what they're going to use. There's different tactics that they use to keep you there. And if you know that they're the sole provider and they know they're the sole provider, they're going to hold that over your head
Yeah.
ex- to the extreme because they know you're fearful. If she leaves, she knows she can't do it without me.
Mhm.
And that's something that's going to do without me. You've been here all this time and I've supported you. Without me, you're going to be living on the street. So what I need, not need, what I want from you tonight are, you've done a lot of different things throughout this time. So you paid off 40,000 and you saved 40,000. So what are ways that you can give our audience if they feel as though they just left a bad situation and now they're doing it on their own? What are some
Mhm.
things, your envelopes, give us some ideas of the things that you did to help you save.
Yeah, for certain. Well, the first thing though is mindset. You have to shift your mind because if you haven't changed your mindset, like this is what I want to do, then
Mhm.
it's not going to work. If you're not ready for it, it's not going to work. That's kind of like when you mentioned earlier, this is our second time. Or second time. At that time, you weren't ready yet, and then
Right.
now you're ready. So if you have to have your mindset shifted first to be ready to, because it takes a lot of work, um, and you have to be disciplined to do it. So that's the very first thing is mindset. Um, then what's most important, so this is for for general speaking. Obviously for victims it's going to be a lot slower. They have
Yeah.
different mindset changes throughout the way,
Yeah.
and it's kind of going to be deeper for them as well. And so after that, after your mindset change, the first thing is starting to look at your budget. So your people don't like that word, spending plan, we can use. And for victims, the first thing they want to look at is what they're going to need to survive. And so you're talking about there's these four walls. The four walls is your house, whether your mortgage or rent. You want to make sure that is on that list. Food, because you need food to survive.
Right.
The utilities to keep them on. And the fourth thing is transportation. So either you have a car or you need public transportation to get to the job that you have to get income from. And a lot of victims as well, they're going to need to look for a job first. So if they're getting out of, these relationships, that's probably their first step is the job and then the mindset. So things that I did throughout for myself that helped me. So my first goal was to get an emergency fund, just a starter one. And the first thing I did was look around my house and I was like, what's in my house that I do not use and I can sell?
Mhm. Mhm.
And I had a dining room table and I had a kitchen table. And I looked at that kitchen table. I was like, nobody sits there unless I have a party. So I sold it. So I sold it as fast as I can. I looked around the house. I looked at kids' clothes, anything possible. So that was the very first thing. Sell everything that you don't need. It's unnecessary. You probably got like extra bags, purses, sell them, get rid of them. Um, I did flea markets. So I was able to get $700, I think, a month or two. And I did a flea market that earned me 300. I sold the table that was 100 and something. And then I couponed as well. And
Mhm.
I couponed extra products that I could sell that helped
Mhm.
me, raise that money very quickly. So that was the first thing. And then so part of the budget is learning to, like, not everybody would do it, but learning to live with cash. And obviously during COVID is kind of a little difficult with the cash system. So you could also do a digital system. And what I would do is whatever expenses I had, such as pet food or haircuts for the kids, or if I, if I want to get my hair done, but I did cut out expenses as well. Um, but anyway, for the envelope system, I put a certain amount every 2 weeks when we got paid, and I put it in there. And I didn't make the amounts too high because I wanted to make sure that any additional money was going to debt. And so I cut out expenses, and then I made the envelope system to make sure each one was in there. And
Mhm.
if you ran out of money within those 2 weeks, that was it. You're done. You don't get no more after that. So you
Mhm.
just have to learn to live. Whatever you budget for, that's what you have to learn to live with. And we were able to, so when we did that, we were able to put more money towards that. And let's say like you did put money in the envelope system and it's something that you didn't use, I would take it and put it towards debt again. And just kept piling up. And I think that's where it came in. We did sell our house, but we didn't get that much for it. Like, I'm gonna be honest, out of that 80,000, I think the house, we only got like 12,000 out of it. So that's the only thing that we got from it. And then everything else was just saving, hustling. I started shirts, and my purpose for selling shirts was just for my debt. And that was the sole purpose. So getting a side hustle is an idea. Just little things that even if you could do from home would be great. Um, I'm trying to think of anything else that we did during that time. I did cut out getting my nails done. I still don't get my nails done.
Well, even recently, which is important, you held on to your car till the wheels fell off, literally.
Oh my God, yes.
Um, that's something that people, they see their car and they're like, I want a new one. And they'll go and they'll refinance and get a car and then like add more debt on top of that loan just to have a new car. You kept that thing like the wheels literally were falling off.
15 years.
And now you bought another car. Your husband was able to buy a car cash, so you didn't finance the car.
Mhm.
So, say I am in a domestic violence relationship right now, and all I have is my job. Say I only make $40,000 a year. I know that he contributes to the relationship, and I want to leave, and I'm concerned. So, say I don't have a side hustle. I don't really have the
Mhm.
skills to do something on the side. I only have my one job. What would be your first steps? Now, say the person is not ready to go yet because financially they can't. Would the envelope system be something that you would suggest? What would you suggest for them to begin with? So, say today I decided I want to leave. I can't leave right now financially because I don't have the finances to, leave economically. I just can't do it. What would be my first step tonight? What should I do?
And if you're still in the household,
Yes.
honestly, as a victim, I would secretly start putting money away and just pile up until they're able to leave. But obviously, sometimes it's really hard. So I definitely secretly put stuff away. Um, Start looking up what things are going to cost them,
Mhm.
and if they can, to keep stacking, saving, making sure. Because they're still in the house. Like, what else would they be able to do at that point? Is
Right.
just to do that. and then
I
prepare
think
themselves. Hmm.
right. And I think a big thing that we need to take into consideration too is humbling ourselves during this time and this
Hmm.
process. Knowing what you can afford and what you can't.
Yes.
Sometimes you want to leave a relationship and you say, I want to leave him, but I can't afford it. And you're like, all right, well, what are you looking for? Well, I'm looking for an apartment, but I don't want to live in the ghetto. I don't want to live in Juniata. I don't want to live in. Sometimes we got to humble ourselves.
Hmm.
Sometimes we have to say, I know I don't want to live in a certain area, or I don't want to live with family. But when you're in an abusive relationship, and if financial is something that's hindering you for doing that, I think we also have to humble ourselves and put us in a place of thinking, here is my goal. And I think that that's the big thing, setting a goal.
Hmm.
Like, I don't want to live in North Philly, or I don't want to live in a bad area. For whoever who's not watching and isn't from Philadelphia, like, you don't want to live in a bad area.
Hmm.
Um, but you know that you want to move. I think at the moment, humbling ourselves and saying, okay, I don't want to live here, but if it's the cheapest I can afford right now, I need to do that.
Yeah.
You know, if you have a child, something that I considered during the time of leaving in my abuse, instead of looking for a 2-bedroom apartment, I was looking for a 1-bedroom apartment.
Hmm.
I'll give my daughter the room. I'll sleep on the sofa in the living room, just knowing what you can afford and not kind of trying to go above your means. Because when you're leaving this situation, you need to be able to afford it once you're out. You
Yes,
need to say,
exactly.
okay, I'm leaving, I'm moving, I'm going to get my own apartment, I'm going to leave him, I only have my job. So then, boo boo, if you know it's just your job that you got and you don't have his,
Hmm.
let's not look for the most expensive neighborhood. Let's not look for an $1,100 rent when we know that we only get paid,
Right.
$900 biweekly, because you still have to worry about food, gas, your electricity, your gas, your
Mhm.
utilities. Something that you also told me when we went over, years ago when we sat and we went over my budget plan was, do you need Comcast cable? No,
No.
get rid of it. You can have a Fire Stick these days and just pay like
Hmm.
$7.99 for Netflix. Some people say they can't live without cable. Well, I can't live without cable. Well, if you're leaving a situation and you need to be able to afford it, those are things you need to cut. Cut the
Yeah.
Comcast cable. You don't need that.
Exactly. It's needs versus wants. If it's not a need, then you don't need it. It's and a lot of the time the expenses are wants. Like, do you need several gym memberships? No.
Right.
Do you need Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, all of those? No. So you
Mhm.
have to learn to cut it out. And
Then,
even when you said, like, depending on where they live, even if it's renting a room temporarily,
right.
just so you could save more money, go ahead and do it. You want to get out as, the best way possible, obviously.
Yeah, definitely. I think that was something that, for people who are watching who are not familiar with our documentary, I say that in the documentary, financial was a big thing for me when I was leaving my abuser. I was terrified because I knew that at this point now I'm pregnant. Um, I had it took a big humbling of myself. Before I finally went home to live back at my childhood home, I lived in my car for 3 weeks. No one knew that. And I said that in the film. And I
Mhm.
literally had my bag in the trunk and my back seat filled with clothes. And I would stay at either different friends' houses, or I would stay in my car because I was not humbling myself. I refused to
Yeah.
go home. I refused to let people know that I'm going through this. I can't afford to get an apartment on my own. So I lived in my car for 3 weeks, which is something a lot of people didn't know, because my
Mhm.
bubbly, goofy personality is who I still was, even though I was living in my car.
Mhm.
Um, and I had certain people, my friend Edna, who would let me stay at her house from time to time, and I could take a shower and do whatever I have to do. But I had to humble myself and be like, listen, you cannot keep living like this. You're pregnant.
Yeah.
You have a baby. You have to be healthy. You have to be in, a healthy place, a safe place. So I took my behind home, and that was difficult for me because now I'm 26 years old. I'm 4 years away from 30. I need to get my life together. I can't live in a car. I need to be able to take care of myself and my child that's coming now. And I had to go home and I had to suck it up. I had to live under
Mhm.
my grandma's roof as an adult again. And I had to save. And it's unfortunate that it took this relationship for me to kind of wake up and be like, all right, I need to get my life together. I had to save and save and save for months.
Mhm.
Until I was able to finally, I was almost 9 months pregnant when I found my apartment, because I said, okay, I have to do this for my daughter. It wasn't what I wanted, but it was an apartment that I can afford, that I could take care of her, and I can be able to pay my bills at the time. So I
Mhm.
think it's a huge humbling process. I think if you're in a situation, if you're watching and you feel like finances is what holding you back, I think one thing, like she said, is save, save, save. you definitely need to start penny pinching, instead of going out with your girlfriends, because I know, I get it, you're trying to get away from, the abuser, you don't want to be in the home, so you're like, let's go away. So then have a night in with your girlfriends instead of going
Mhm.
out to a club or to a bar or to a movie. Save that money, put it in an envelope, instead of buying yourself that Louis pair of shoes or a purse. Because unfortunately, some people say, oh, but you're in an abusive relationship, they're not worried about that. There's a lot of people going through abusive relationships who still are shopping all the time and spending all this money and not realizing that all the money that you're spending and all of the time that you're spending being in these stores and shopping, all of that money can be put away to a fund. I have people who reach out to me who need the help but are not willing to do
Mhm.
that. I
Yeah.
think the biggest takeaway is one, humbling yourself, and two, save, save, save. If you have extra money, say he's paying all the bills and you have a job, start putting your money to the side. Don't
Mhm.
use it to buy a new outfit. Don't use it to get your nails done. Take them nails off, take that acrylic off, and start saving that money so that you can find your way out.
And that's why I
Um,
said with mindset, they have to get there first to want
mhm,
to do it. Like they have
right.
to want to do it. And for people who, um, let's say they can't really take out money cash, you can always go to your job and give them open another bank account, give them, take that to your job and get automatic withdrawals from that one account to another account, and not
Mhm,
tell your abuser what you're doing, and just save up that way. So there's like little ways, I guess, for certain, it depends on the person, obviously,
mhm,
but there's nothing wrong with having several accounts.
yeah. Um, so I've had to do it still. For people that are watching are like, so then what? Then what? You continue it.
Hmm.
Your only way of being able to get through that time and maintain is to continue to do it. I'm as
Hmm.
old as I am now, and I had a visit with her almost a month ago, and we did the same thing again 2 years
Yeah.
later. Let's look at your budget. What can we cut out?
Hmm.
Let's switch to this phone carrier because they're cheaper. Let's
Hmm.
get rid of Amazon Prime. You can use someone else's Prime if you need something quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, why
Share.
do you have two gym memberships? Oh, because of this one, I like this gym, but cut one of them. You
Yeah.
don't need both. So it's a mindset that not only will you have to have during the time of abuse that you're trying to get out, but even after, so that you can maintain. Because unfortunately, we will move and leave that relationship, get an apartment that we can afford, and then end up back with the abuser again because
Hmm.
financially that's where I need to be. So you want to make sure that once you leave, you've saved, you've humbled yourself, and you've removed yourself from the situation. Your mindset continues to stay the same.
Yeah.
Save, save, save. And what is my goal? Why did I do it? I did it because I wanted to get out. I did it because I want to be able to be financially stable on my own. You have
Hmm.
to stay that way because you don't want to end up back in the same situation going
No.
backwards.
And once you're out, it's really really important to have financial goals. And when I mean that, I don't mean just let me just say $500. No, if you want to save $500, you have to tie it to a date and make sure that you're doing whatever you can to do it. You have, that's kind of like the SMART goals. You have to do it just like that, and just to make sure that you're on top of it. Then you move on to the next one. So even if you have a long-term goal of, I'm going to pay off debt, I'm going to pay $10,000 within 12 months. Now you split it into, every month of the year, just to make sure that gets done. But that's just an example I was using, but you could do the same thing where it turns victims need to save money. Okay, this is my goal. I already looked at this apartment. This is how much it's going to cost. What can I do to get there? So it's really, important to keep reminding yourself that, and maybe have it somewhere that you can actually see it, even if it's on your phone.
Right. There's lots of apps out there. I learned that from her. There's lots of apps out there where you can actually put your finances in there, put your bills in there, and it'll tell you, what's your negative equity, what's your positive equity. Okay,
Hmm.
so if I pay all of this, this is how much money I have left for the month. You could do it as easy as that. You carry around your smartphone, and if that's
Hmm.
something that's a goal for you, you know that you want to leave this situation, download those apps. It's easy enough to go onto your Android phone or your iPhone and just type in the Google stores or, the Apple store, um, saving money, financial, whatever it is, so that you can kind of allow yourself to guide your ship pretty much to where you want
Hmm.
to get it. So, I want to take away from that tonight that there's a lot of things that we can do to kind of get us there.
Yes.
Financial abuse is something that people don't, like you said, recognize as abuse, because a lot of times they think, no, it's
Hmm.
just like the other abuses. They think if he's not hitting me, it's not really abuse.
Yeah.
Um, and
I don't think
sometimes,
I
go
don't think
ahead.
they realize that they're the abuser is forcing dependency on the victim. So they're just like, oh no, he's just handling everything. Well, he's forcing you to be dependent.
Right.
So,
Which is something that Brenda said last week. Going
mhm.
back to the show last week, Brenda said that when they finally split, she, was close to, oh my God, what am I going to do? Because now I have to do it by myself. I don't
Mhm.
want them to lose. I don't want to lose my home. I don't want my kids to suffer from this relationship split because now they're going to have to get accustomed to just one salary. So
Yeah.
she got two jobs. And people are probably like, really, two jobs? But at some point you have to do what you have to do to get you out of your situation.
Yes.
um I think what I've learned, multiple streams of income have helped me a great deal. And that's something I learned actually just in even friendships, through you, through my relationship. Just learning multiple streams of income are super, super important. Some people are like, what if I don't have the skills? That's okay. You can do things like what Jessica did, coupon and then sell different
Mhm.
items so that you can get another source of finances. For myself, I was lucky enough to have my photography company,
Yeah.
and be able to kind of offset what my regular job didn't pay for. I was able to kind of, and it took away from my time at times with my daughter when she was younger, but that was the only way that I can maintain on my
Yeah.
own. And you have to just kind of sometimes say, okay, it's going to take me away from her. I'm going to be shooting a wedding or sweet 16s all weekend. I won't see her. But I needed that so that I can stay financially stable to be able
Mhm.
to leave that relationship and stay out of it and not turn back.
Yeah. And
So
I know that people will like, well, I don't have a craft, I don't do this, but there's so many other forms now, like with
mhm,
technology. Like you can teach kids in China and
mhm.
you can do that at night. You can do affiliate marketing where you're just posting stuff and making a percentage out of it. So there's so many different forms that we need to get it out there so people know. Everybody else knows, but the lower income people, we don't know. We need to, we got to get that stuff out there, and that's why this stuff is so important to me, is making sure that we share this with everybody.
Yeah. So we are 47
Mhm.
minutes in, right? When you're having fun, it goes quick. I told you it will be cool. So before we wrap it up tonight, just a few reminders as per always, because I want to remind folks why we are here. The number is scrolling across the bottom of the screen. If you are dealing with any form of domestic violence, any of the ones that we talk about, make sure that you reach out to the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233. You can talk to them. If you feel as though someone is around you and you can't speak to them, you can text them, you can chat with them, and they can still help you. You can reach out to us at loveshouldnothurt.com at our website. You can send us messages via there. You can email us. You can get us on any social media platform, send your messages. We will respond to you at our earliest convenience. If we cannot help you, we will make sure we find someone. We have partners like Congreso, Concilio, who offer victim services programs, who help with finances. So if you feel like financial support is something that you need during your time of domestic violence, you can reach out to us and we will link you with the people and the folks at Congreso or Concilio who can financially help you get the down payment to move out of that apartment. Well, something that we want to continue to remind you is that Concilio and Congreso can do that. They work with the 24th, 25th Division with their victim services program at Concilio. But you know that they will help you get that down payment so that you could get that apartment, but you have to be able to maintain it. So that's something that you need to remember. Finding a job is super important, even if it's a small job, McDonald's, Rite Aid, I don't care what it is. That's your stepping stone. You have to be able to afford where you go. And that's why I say we have to humble ourselves, because as long as you're getting out, let's not worry about exactly where you're going for the moment, whether it's one bedroom, whether it's just a small efficiency, whatever it is, you have to make sure that you can afford it. But our partners like Concilio, Congreso, with their Latina domestic violence program as well, can help you with those financial issues. So make sure that you reach out to us. Reminding folks, this is Jessica's YouTube page. She has awesome, awesome information for people's financial wellness on there. If you are like, I don't know what to do with my finances, I'm clueless. She is not shy on there because it's not live. She
Yeah.
pre-records it. So if you watch her videos, she's bubbly, crazy. I mean, one of them has like split personality. She's goofy. You will enjoy her videos. They're super, super fun. So follow Jay Narvaez on YouTube so that she can help you
Yeah.
reach that financial stability that you guys need. So I want to put this up because, I always like to give a little teaser about what we are doing every week. But before we do so, I just want to hit our last few comments. It's a sacrifice worth taking in order to enable yourself to get out. Yes, it is a sacrifice, but it is worth it in the end. Evie Ramos says, please share. Yes, If you are here and you're watching, share, 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 so people can see what we've spoken about tonight, and also look at Jessica's YouTube page, because there's a lot of very helpful information on there for anyone who's looking for that financial stability. Carmen says, I am currently working on 2 jobs with 5 kids. Kudos to you, Carmen, because
Mhm.
we got to do what we got to do as parents, especially when finances are something that's major in our lives. So
Mhm.
to give us a small little look at what's to come next week, my people, Christina will be in the hot seat. I will be on live next week with Ray Velez, and I will not be hosting. Ray Velez will be the host in the hot seat. So if you have ever come on here and you have questions about me that you think I've never answered, get on and start getting your questions ready, because Ray will be our host next week. I have no idea what he's going to ask. He is going to lead us in our show next week at 7 p.m. and I will be in the hot seat, people. So listen, you'll be just as surprised as me, because I have no idea what he's going to ask me. But I'm going to be super open to speaking about whatever it is that he has for me. So that is next week. Jessica, thank you so much for coming on tonight and sharing your financial wisdom with us. Anything that you want to say to those watching, just any something that you want them to remember about tonight, just some steps that they should take to start off, just whatever it is you want to do before we close out tonight.
Sure, a few things, a few things. So, number one, give yourself grace. No matter what it is, give yourself grace. Don't overwhelm yourself. Do little steps at a time. Um, I do want to say I am not a financial expert. I'm just sharing stuff that I'm learning, that I've learned, and that I'm going to learn, because I'm going to learn more stuff so I can spread it to y'all. Okay. I just want you to know. So yes, if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. If you're ready for that mindset shift to make sure that you're ready to start and to change, I'm here for any questions. I also want to do one last thing for the people that are watching. I messaged some people for today, and because your birthday is on Sunday, um, we want to wish you a happy early birthday. So can I get those
You,
people to flood those comments with a happy early birthday for my girl? She's
you're
coming
so
the big
silly.
4-0.
Oh God, I
Hello.
sure am. That
The
sucks.
big 4-0. Flood those comments and wish her a happy
You're so
birthday.
silly. Thank you. I appreciate it. You're
Yes. There you
crazy.
go. There you go. It's coming. It's coming.
You're so silly.
I'm watching too on my phone so I could see. There
You are
you go. We
crazy.
gotta
Oh
do
my
it
goodness.
now because next Tuesday is after your birthday. So we gotta make sure. Flood it, flood it, flood
Oh,
it, flood
thank
it.
you
Keep it coming,
guys.
keep it coming. I'm gonna do it too while I'm on here. Hold up.
Oh no, you crazy. Thank you so much, everybody. You guys are, you're awesome. I can't keep up putting them up this. Well, thank you, everyone. This is so awesome. I appreciate the love. She said I don't look a day over 39.
Not yet.
You guys are
There you go, there you
crazy.
go.
Oh no, Charlotte said your booty still looks 25. You
Yeah.
guys are crazy. Oh my goodness. Thank you guys so much. So appreciative of the love as always. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. It's definitely a stepping stone. But like I said at the beginning, I get them all emotional and goofy. Like I said at the beginning of um, the show, and like we expressed at the beginning of where I was to where I am today. I've definitely come a long, long way. 2020 has not been easy. I never close out a show until I cry, right? Here I go.
I had you crying
2020,
earlier too,
I
so it's all right.
know. 2020 has not been easy for me. I lost my grandmother, love of my life.
Let it out, girl. Let it out.
So it's been a very, very hard year for me. So thank you. You guys don't understand how much I'm appreciated. I've come a really long way from where I was to where I am now. So I appreciate it. Folks like yourself, Jessica, and my friends who are in the comments who have helped me and pushed me and gotten me where I am today. I'm a totally different person than I was back then. So
Mhm.
I appreciate the love from
I,
everyone.
I believe when you told me that you love yourself now, I believed it now. The other time that I was like, oh, she's playing me. She's playing me. She's not telling me the truth.
Yeah, it was a really difficult year for me. And I definitely, oh, Jeanette, don't cry, Dito. I'm just a crybaby. Have a wonderful birthday. May God bless you with 40 more wonderful years. Joy shall be your portion in this season. Thank you so much. Evie said it's time for a shot. Yo no tengo un
Shot,
shot, but I'll
shot, shot.
my
Oh my
wine.
God. I had my wine here the whole time. I didn't
Hold
even
up.
drink it. Hold up.
Cheers to 40 years. Woohoo!
Cheers.
Let me tell you, my mindset this year was not to celebrate my birthday. My mindset this year was kind of doing it quietly, not thinking about it because I definitely miss my grandmother. Here I go again.
But she would want you to
um,
celebrate.
but you know
Celebrate.
what? At the end of the day, I think that I am such a better person now than who I used to be. And I think that that's a testament to her.
Mhm.
So my celebration of my birth this year will be that I am finally the woman that I know that my grandmother prayed for. So
I've been praying
definitely,
too, though. I was praying too. Stop playing.
you're so silly. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for always being here. And
Thank you.
I look all shiny and sad.
I love
I
you. I love you. I love
love you
you.
too. I heart you
No matter
too.
what we've been through, God still wants me by your side. I don't know, but He got plans for us.
Silly. You're so crazy. I love it. Thank you guys so much.
You got people crying, yo.
I know. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm a crybaby, you guys.
I'm
That
sorry I started it.
you have an amazing Ray says you have an amazing present this year. A beautiful guardian angel. I sure do.
It should never leave you.
Always crying on the stupid camera. You people must be sick of seeing me cry. I swear.
It was planned. What are you talking about?
Oh my God. I know. Anyway, thank you guys all. It is now 7:59. It's been a great time as per always. Look forward to Ray having me in the hot seat next week. Listen, if you don't know Ray, watch next week because he loves to make me cry. So who knows what he's going to ask me next week. Stay tuned for that. By then I'll be 40.
Right, yes. But you get to celebrate all month, so it's okay.
Oh, that's okay. Thank you guys so much for being here tonight. Jessica, thank you for sharing your wisdom with us. Remind us again how much debt you got rid of.
I got rid of $40,000 and saved $40,000 in
And
38
save
months. 3
and
years.
save 40.
Yes.
See that?
Thanks for having me. I
Thank you
appreciate
for
it.
being here. Charlotte says she named her kid after me. She's
After
so
you.
silly. She's silly. She's crazy. Thank you guys for a great night again. Thank you, Jess, for sharing in it. I hope when people are on here, they're not bored and they're entertained because everybody that comes on are friends of mine. They're great people and they make me laugh. So good night, everybody. Blessings to you all
Good
as always
night.
here. Thank you, Carmen. Bye, everybody. See you next Tuesday.